Captain's log, stardate 4592.4. The Enterprise has completed its survey of the Zeta Reticuli system and is ready to embark into the uncharted Outer Rim territories. My crew brims with anticipation for whatever wonders or perils await us in these unexplored regions of space. I leaned back in my captain's chair and smiled, savoring the hum of the engines as we prepared to jump to warp. The view screen showed the inky blackness of space speckled with distant stars, each a tempting destination for exploration. "Mr. Sulu, ready for warp speed on my mark," I ordered. "Aye, sir," Sulu acknowledged from the helm. I turned to my Vulcan first officer. "Any recommendations for our first stop out here, Mr. Spock?" Spock raised an eyebrow. "Based on our long-range sensor data, I would suggest investigating the fifth planet in the nearby Beta Aquili system. It is an M-class world with indications of dilithium crystal deposits." I nodded thoughtfully. Dilithium would be a valuable find to replenish our ship's stores. But my explorer's instincts hungered for something more. "Belay that, Mr. Spock. Helmsman, set a course for the outermost planet in the Beta Canis Majoris system. Long-range scans suggest it may possess an Argus array similar to those found in the Cygnus constellations." Spock tilted his head. "Unwise, Captain. That planet is over 7 AU from its star with surface temperatures of -220 degrees Celsius. Additionally, the system lies 10 light-years off our scheduled path." I grinned and gripped my chair's armrests. "But think of it, Spock. No Federation ship has surveyed that remote frozen world before. Who knows what discoveries we may make? What good is an explorer who sticks to the routine path?" Spock raised an eyebrow. "You seem determined despite the illogic of wasting time and resources. Very well, Captain." "That's the spirit," I said jovially. "Helmsman, lay in a course for Beta Canis Majoris, maximum warp." "Aye, Captain. Course plotted and laid in," Sulu responded. The view screen star field stretched into streaking lines as the Enterprise surged into warp. I smiled and settled back into my chair, watching the hypnotic swirling patterns of warped space race by outside. My stellar cartographer's soul thrilled at the notion of voyaging somewhere truly new, with wonders and dangers unknown. What marvels would we uncover in that uncharted frozen realm? The prospect filled me with childlike excitement, a feeling that had drawn me to the stars since my youth. After several hours, we approached the outermost planet, a pale blue orb wreathed in gossamer rings of ice. My science officer Spock conducted a battery of remote scans. Fascinating. The planet has a liquid water ocean beneath its frozen crust, warmed by geothermal vents. Preliminary readings also indicate a vast cave network with energy signatures consistent with Argus array technology. I slapped my knees triumphantly. "Excellent. That settles it then. Mr. Sulu, establish orbit. We'll take a landing party down to investigate those caves." Spock raised an eyebrow. "Caution is advised, Captain. The environment will be dangerously cold and the cave structural stability is unknown." I waved away his concerns. "I have every confidence in you and Mr. Scott's environmental suit design, Spock. Where's your sense of adventure?" Spock folded his hands neutrally. "My sense of logic suggests prudence, Captain. However, your human intuition has proven sound in past encounters." I chuckled and gripped Spock's shoulder warmly. "That's the spirit. Now let's go solve a frozen mystery." The shuttlecraft descended through swirling icy mists, buffeted by strong winds. McCoy gripped his seat nervously as we passed through layers of thick clouds. "Good Lord, Jim, this folly has gone on long enough. That frozen wasteland could swallow us whole." I smiled reassuringly. "Have some faith, Bones. The Enterprise won't let us down." Breaking through the last cloud layer, the planet's surface came into view. a sheer expanse of ice and snow unbroken by any signs of life or features. Spock raised an eyebrow. Fascinating. Truly, an alien landscape. Guided by sensor readings, we flew low over the bleak terrain until a dark gash appeared, the mouth of a giant cave opening. I rubbed my hands eagerly. "Take us down, Mr. Sulu. Let's crack this icy egg." McCoy shivered as we disembarked in our environment suits, boots crunching on the hard-packed snow. "Can we make this quick? I can feel my marrow freezing just looking at this place." The cave loomed like a monstrous mouth, shadowy tendrils of vapor whispering from its icy throat. We switched on suit lights and beam rifles as we stepped into the gloom. Our footsteps echoed through chambers of sculpted ice, carved by millennia of wind and water. Delicate crystal formations refracted our lights into dazzling prisms. Spock scanned the walls with his tricorder. Fascinating geology. These caverns formed from pockets of geothermally heated water deep beneath the frozen crust. After several minutes, we reached a vast open space, with floors and walls of polished obsidian black rock. Glowing veins of luminous crystals pulsed through the stone. "Captain," Spock exclaimed, "these readings indicate we are nearing an Argus Array energy core." I smiled within my helmet. "Excellent work, Spock. Let's find it." We followed the glowing crystal lines, the air warming noticeably as we descended through winding passages. Finally, we emerged into an immense cavern illuminated by alien script carved into the walls. In the center sat a towering pillar of intricately etched metal, throbbing with arcane energy. Conduits snaked across the floor, connecting it to smaller pillars surrounding a central dais. McCoy let out a low whistle. "Would you look at that? Who'd have thought we'd find a gizmo like this on an iceball planet?" I stepped forward reverently to examine the alien technology. Incredible! A fully functional Argus Array out here in uncharted space. Starfleet will be thrilled. Spock scanned the central pillar with fascination. It appears roughly 300,000 years old, but still operating automatically. "Any idea what it's doing way out here?" I asked. Spock raised an eyebrow. "Difficult to ascertain without a direct interface. However, Argus Arrays enable instantaneous transport across interstellar distances." I pondered the implications, filled with wonder. What ancient race built this miraculous device so far from home? What unfathomable purpose did it serve? The explorer in me craved answers. Spock interrupted my musings. "Captain, the central pillar is resonating in what seems a deliberate pattern." Suddenly, the cavern shook. I struggled to keep my footing as the ground heaved. "Blast! Looks like we accidentally activated something," I said. "Take cover!" We ducked behind pillars as violent tremors shook the cavern. A deafening hum filled the chamber, and alien symbols glowed with actinic light. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the quaking stopped. An eerie silence fell over the now dim cavern. I switched my suit transmitter to hail Sulu. "Enterprise, come in! Can you read me?" But only static answered. Spock called out, "Captain, come look at this." I hurried over to find a shimmering portal now filled the central dais, swirling with unearthly energies. We stared at it in awe. What had we unleashed? And where in the universe did it lead? We approached the shimmering portal cautiously, tricorders scanning. McCoy shook his head incredulously. "An interdimensional gateway? What in blazes did we activate down here?" Spock raised an eyebrow. "It appears the Argus Array created a controlled wormhole through subspace. I am reading structures on the other side." I nodded slowly, mesmerized by the hypnotic swirl of energies. "Looks like we're going through. It may be our only way to reconnect with the Enterprise." I tapped my wrist communicator. "Scotty, can you read us?" Still only static. McCoy grumbled nervously as we stepped onto the central dais before the portal. "I've got a bad feeling about this." On three then, I said. 1, 2, 3. We plunged into the shimmering vortex. Dazzling colors and strange geometries engulfed us as we were hurled through a pulsing subspace tunnel. Moments later, we emerged stumbling onto polished metallic floors, the portal winking out behind us. Fascinating, remarked Spock. We seemed to be inside an advanced space station. Lights flickered on, revealing an expansive hall with soaring vaulted ceilings. Strange symbols marked the walls alongside large viewports that opened onto the starry void of space. A door slid open and a bipedal blue-skinned alien entered. It had 4 arms and a pair of antennae sprouting from its skull. The alien halted, surveying us with large, luminous eyes. Spock swiftly made the Vulcan salute. "Greetings. We come in peace." The alien approached cautiously. You came through the Argus Gate? You are not Halcyon." It spoke in perfect English. I stepped forward diplomatically. "No, we're peaceful explorers from the planet Earth. I'm Captain James Kirk of the Federation starship Enterprise." The alien hesitated, then made an elaborate gesture of greeting. "I am Chancellor Isthor of the Rellian Consortium. You are far from Earth space, Captain. How did you activate the Argus Gate?" I smiled sheepishly. "A little accidental exploration on our part. We mean no harm." Isthor clicked his antennae pensively. "No Halcyon has crossed in over 3 centuries. When the gate activated, we thought, no matter. Come, you must meet the consortium." We followed Isthor through vaulted halls that appeared as much cathedral as space station. Rellians stopped to watch us pass with curiosity. After riding a transcendent lift, we entered a grand assembly chamber ringed by Rellian officials. Isthor formally presented us. "Esteemed consortium, these visitors come through the Argus Gate. They hail from a distant star called Earth." The Rellians buzzed in astonishment. A senator called out, "Impossible! No world but Halcyon knew the gate." I stepped forward. "We discovered a gate relic on a remote planet and accidentally activated it, but we come in friendship, seeking only to understand." The consortium erupted in debate. Finally, the eldest stood. "Earthlings, you give us hope. The gate has been dark for centuries since the Halcyon War. That it has reawakened means the universe has not forgotten us." I had a million questions, but sensed this was a pivotal moment. We have much to share with each other. On behalf of Earth, I offer you our friendship. The consortium members buzzed their antennae in assent. Isthor came forward and placed a talisman around my neck. "Then it is done. Let this mark you as friend to the Rellian Consortium, Captain Kirk. Welcome." There would be much to discuss, but as I looked around at the marvels of this station, I felt the stirrings of a new adventure. The portal had led us to the stars once again. The Rellians prepared a feast in our honor that evening. Their cuisine was a unique medley of flavors and textures my human palate wasn't accustomed to, but I enjoyed experiencing a new culture. Chancellor Isthor raised a curious antenna at our plates. "You seem to savor our food, Captain. I had thought our biologies incompatible." I smiled. "We humans have very adaptive palates. Getting to sample alien cuisine is one of the joys of space travel." "Fascinating," Isthor clicked. "Perhaps our philosophies are compatible as well. The consortium has grown stagnant in isolation behind the gate." I nodded. "New experiences breed new perspectives. We have a saying on Earth, travel is fatal to prejudice." Isthor buzzed pensively. "Too long have we dwelled in the past, nursing old hatreds, fearing the Halcyon would return through the gate to finish their conquest." "Yet you kept the gate active all these centuries," I asked. "In hopes it may one day reopen communication with our lost colonies across the stars," Isthor sighed. "But that time seemed long past." My heart went out to them. How terrible to be cut off from the greater galaxy, left to languish. An idea occurred to me. Chancellor, the Federation's purpose is seeking out new life and new civilizations. Let us help reconnect you to the interstellar community. Isthor's antennae perked up. A noble offer, Captain Kirk. But how? I smiled. My ship, the Enterprise, can calculate the coordinates to open gates elsewhere, allowing access to inhabited systems. What do you say? The Chancellor's eyes lit up. A chance to see the stars again. Captain, on behalf of the consortium, I accept your proposal. We worked feverishly over the next days with Mr. Scott beaming over to study the gate. He whistled at the ingenious technology. I can't wrap my head around how it works, but with Spock's help I've deduced how to operate it. Finally, we stood ready to embark before the gate chamber's shimmering portal. The Rellian delegation buzzed with anticipation. Chancellor Isthor clasped my arm. Once more unto the stars, my friend. Thanks to you and your intrepid crew. I smiled. The Federation believes all species have contributions to make. Are you ready? Isthor drew himself up proudly. To soar the celestial seas once more, I would brave far greater dangers. Onward. We stepped into the portal, the Enterprise waiting on the other side having tracked our gate jumps. As the Rellians marveled at the sights, I felt rewarded seeing their childlike wonder. The gate network opened up a new means to bridge distant worlds. All that remained was reaching out a hand in friendship. As the Enterprise shone bright against a dazzling nebula, the universe felt a little less isolating. Captain's log, star date 4598.7. The Enterprise plays host to a delegation of Rellians as we utilize their ancient Argus Gate technology to explore new sectors of space. Their childlike wonder at the marvels of the galaxy reminds me why we do what we do. Chancellor Isthor clicked his antenna excitedly on the bridge. Magnificent, Captain, to soar between stars again after so long sequestered on our station. I smiled from the command chair. And we've only just begun. Helmsman, lay in a course for the Kalos Nebula. I think our guests will find it quite dazzling. Isthor examined the star charts. To boldly go, a fitting credo for your intrepid crew. The Enterprise leaped into warp on wings of light, the Rellians captivated by the sight. As we settled in for the journey, I reflected on how lives could change with a single act of exploration. By discovering that Argus Gate relic, we'd freed the Rellians from centuries of isolation. Dr. McCoy stopped by the bridge to check on our guests. Isthor's 4 arms made for an intricate medical scan. Well, you appear healthy as a Rellian can be, McCoy said, though I recommend caution with our food. Space contains a universe of bacteria your immune systems aren't accustomed to. Isthor buzzed good-naturedly. Some discomforts are well worth the wonders, Doctor. McCoy chuckled. Can't argue with that. Just call if you need anything. As he left, Isthor turned to me. Your chief medical officer cares deeply for those under his watch, regardless of species. The consortium has much to learn from you. I nodded. Infinite diversity, infinite combinations. We each have strengths to share. When we neared the nebula, the Rellians gazed in awe at the massive, colorful clouds, lit from within by nascent stars. Isthor extended a thermal imaging lens. Remarkable beauty from such turbulence and chaos, creation unfolding according to the whims of physics. I smiled. The universe holds treasures for those with courage to seek them out. Our voyage continued, each new sight reawakening the Rellian spirit. When we returned them to their station, Chancellor Isthor gave me a reverent nod. You have helped us rekindle our sense of exploration, Captain Kirk. The consortium is in your debt. Please accept this gate amulet so you may return any time. I clasped his hand warmly. The true gift is seeing your joy and wonder, but I'm sure the Enterprise will be back this way again soon. As we prepared to depart through the shimmering portal, Spock raised an eyebrow. Curious how an accidental activation has led to such profound consequences. I chuckled. That's exploration for you, my friend. Fortune favors the bold. With a final wave, we stepped back through onto the Enterprise. Captain's log, supplemental. Our encounter with the Rellians proves space still holds limitless wonders for those with the spirit to seek them out. Though it falls to us to take the first steps, we often find friendship waiting on the other side.